Welcome to Tenfold, the space where truth multiplies, impact expands, and every part of your journey comes back to serve you tenfold. I'm your host, Rachel Everington, business strategist, mindset mentor, and founder of the Executive Ninja. This podcast goes beyond the boardroom. We're getting raw, real, and deeply human because the people behind the brands, they're the ones who make it all matter. Here, we talk about the bold moves, the breakdowns, the breakthroughs, and everything in between. From systems and leadership to life pivots and late night revelations, nothing's off limits. Whether you're a business owner, an executive, or someone in your becoming era, this is your front row seat to honest conversations, unfiltered lessons, and unapologetic growth. Let's get into it. Hey, Ninja Squad, it's me, Rachel Everington, and welcome back to Tenfold. It's been a minute, and I'm going to get into why, what changed, what stayed, and what this next chapter of Tenfold is really about. Because let's be honest, we don't just pause things for no reason. We pause because something inside of us is shifting. We outgrow things, or we need to recalibrate. Sometimes it's messy, sometimes it's quiet, and sometimes it's loud in the most unexpected way. So, if you've been following along for a while, you might remember that I started this podcast a couple of years ago, and it was under Tenfold. And I considered relaunching it last year, even a couple of months ago, and I renamed it In the Ring with Rachel, and that made sense for a season. I was in thick of it, figuring out what I wanted to say, who I wanted to be, and what I was willing to fight for. But I've grown since then, and I've softened in some places, sharpened in others, and Tenfold feels like the most aligned, grounded, and powerful version of this space. This isn't just a relaunch or a rebrand. This is just a return. So let's talk about the name of the podcast, Tenfold. I feel like a reintroduction is needed. Its meaning, literally and energetically, what it means, right? So, tenfold means abundance, return on investment, alignment, and overflow. So, think of everything I give, create, or stand for comes back to me in tenfold. Every lesson, every risk, every truth, it multiplies. It's not just about surviving, it's about thriving tenfold. And tenfold, there's an acronym like in the first part of the name, which is 10. And if you know, I run an executive assistant agency called the Executive Ninja, and that is the acronym. So it kind of anchors back to my origin story and my agency without being literal. And it felt very aligned because to me, it brings in like this legacy brand without keeping myself like boxed in. And it allows me to speak on different topics, not just about business. And I felt like that was a thing why I slowly didn't start to really love my podcast the first time, because I felt like it had to always be about business. But there's so many things I want to talk about. I want to talk about business. I want to talk about leadership, mindset, creativity, and evolution without like so much confusion, you know? So I really wanted to broaden that and not have a name that felt like it was only going to be about business topics. So for me, tenfold is where everything I give myself, energy, truth, clarity, courage, returns in tenfold, right? Tenfold is for the ones who pour into everyone else, but are ready to come back home to their own voice. And the podcast isn't also just about fighting through business battles. It's about return, evolution, and the whole human. It's about the personal growth, storytelling, challenges, and rewards that come full circle. So to me, Tenfold embodies the idea that everything, effort, energy, risk, truth, like I said, comes back multiplied. All right, so now that we've got that reintroduction out of the way, let me give you all the updates. Let's start with what's new in business. So, since I last published an episode, I've been deep in the trenches and high up in the vision space. I've been serving clients inside my agency, the Executive Ninja, building new offers, refining systems, consulting, coaching, speaking, and honestly, protecting my energy. I've worked with incredible CEOs. I've mentored amazing EAs and VAs stepping into true leadership. I launched and revamped my programs like VA Mastery, which is a do-it-yourself program to start building your VA business, your virtual assistant business, and VEA Recoded, which is my program for virtual assistants looking to level up as an EA, and for EAs who are virtual or in the corporate space looking to just level up in their career. And built out other high touch services like the Ninja Playbook and the Executive Suite. So I'll talk about more about those services on another episode. But the truth is, even while doing all of that, I missed this mic, this connection, this place where I get to talk freely, reflect deeply, and connect with you beyond emails and DMs, right? So on the life update, on the personal side, whew, let's just say life has been lifing. I've been growing, healing, dancing. That's something new. Parenting, building muscle, literally and metaphorically, and redefining what showing up looks like for me. I've walked away from things that no longer aligned, even when it was hard. I've cried. I've danced on stage. And I've made space to rediscover who I am outside of the work I do. Because here's the thing, I'm not just a business strategist. I'm not just a mom or a CEO or a coach. I'm a creative, a feeler, a speaker, a dancer, a full spectrum human in her becoming era. And that's what Tenfold is really about. So, why the relaunch and why the name? Because I've poured so much into life, into people, into this work. And I finally reached a place where I was ready to let it all come back, not just in results, but in rest, in creativity, and in connection. Tenfold is for the ones who've given and are ready to receive, like I said, and who've built and are ready to be held, who've survived and are ready to thrive with big energy, soft power, and a whole lot of fucking truth. So here are the things to expect from the show. You will get unfiltered conversations about business, systems, leadership, energy, and mindset, real life reflections on parenting, identity, healing, and the messy middle of it all. Guests who've walked through the fire, and are willing to tell the real story. Occasional fun episodes reviewing shows, movies, or pop culture moments that actually have depth, or no depth, and it's just honestly just shits and giggles. Mini solo episodes where I drop truth bombs, rants, or frameworks that shift how you think. So some episodes will be 30 to 45 minutes long and deep. Others will be short, spicy, and to the point. But every episode will offer something back to you tenfold. So whether you're here for the wisdom, the rants, the laughs, or the realness, I'm so glad to be back in your ears. So make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode if it resonated, because we're just getting started. Let's build, grow, and rise tenfold. This is your front row seat or your invitation to get in the ring. Your choice. That's a wrap for today's episode of Tenfold. If something landed for you, share it, send it to a friend, post it, and tag me at Rachel Everington on Instagram. I want to hear what moved you, challenged you, or made you think differently. And if you're building something bold or navigating your own next level, remember, the energy you pour in always comes back tenfold. Until next time, stay in the work, stay in your power, and I'll meet you right back here.